What's going on, guys? My name is Brandon, and today we've got an exciting episode. Finally, the plastics that I ordered 2 months ago have finally arrived from Italy. Stick around. Now, I know this doesn't look like a huge feat having a bunch of white plastic here, but I'll tell you guys the aggravation I had to go through to get this stuff. I've waited actually 2 months for them to arrive, and it took me at least a month just to find them. They do not make white plastics for this model year KTM anywhere on the planet other than this one company. And there was a huge language barrier. I had a lot of difficulty trying to communicate with these people about what I needed for parts. But we got it, and yeah, and I got the graphics kit coming. I don't have it. The graphics kit's coming out of Germany, but I got a brand new headlight. They threw in a KTM bar pad. We'll put that on. Side panels, radiator shrouds, front fender, rear fender. Yeah, it should look good. So we got a lot going on today, guys. We got a lot of bling we're going to be putting on the bike. We're going to put the gold chain on it. We got all kinds of stuff we're doing, but one of the first things that I need to do is get the brakes working. So that means we got to put in brake fluid, bleed the brakes, and then after that we'll probably go through the bike and just start torquing and tightening everything. If you're following along with this build, I just removed the seat, which was just sitting there, and I removed the stock gas tank just so I can get to these radiator hoses, because I've been waiting on these clamps. Now, these just aren't a regular clamp you can get at your regular automotive store. They actually have rounded edges that are made so they're kind of like shaped like this. They're kind of like dished out. I don't know if you can see it, but they're made so that when you tighten them down, they don't dig into these silicone hoses, because apparently these silicone hoses will cut easily. So I wanted to make sure that I had the right thing for them so they don't have any problems. So they just came in, and now we got to put them on. I actually bought the clamps from the same people that I bought the hoses from, which is Pro Factory. So I got 12 hoses, so I'll have more than I need.
Now, this build is what we're calling a budget build, and one of the things that you have to be mindful of when you're doing a budget build is you got to prioritize what's important, because if you don't, it can really spin out of control really quickly. So the first thing that I do is I think safety. I make a list of all the things that compromise the safety. Make a list. Those are the things I have to get, because you can't compromise on safety. Then the second thing I think about, then that becomes dependability. Leaky hoses and stuff like that. So that's why I'm replacing these here.
Now, because I really want this to go good, we'll put some Kawasaki radiator coolant in it. This will add a lot of horsepower to it. I actually ordered way too much coolant when I did the coolant change on my Ninja 1000, so instead of returning it, I just saved it. Now, this is all pre-mixed. You don't have to dilute it. It's already done for us, so I'm just going to add it until it's full. Then we'll have to top it off once we get riding it. Just cracking this over here. It's like a vent so that this radiator will fill up. There we go. Yeah, it went way down too. There we go. I feel pretty confident right now that we got enough coolant in it so that when we go to start it up, we're not going to be panicking.
This episode here is really where these builds start to become a lot of fun for me, because now you're putting things together. And what you saw me do there is I just used some contact adhesive, sprayed it inside the grip. It also works like a lubricant, so you can be able to slide it on as well. So then you have to cut the ends of the grip off, because I'm using these handguards on it. And you'll see here in a few minutes that these the metal frames for the handguards, they're not designed to be used with those Zeta handguards, so I had to do a little bit of fabrication work. So I know you guys will like to see that, because we haven't done some fabrication on the channel for a while. And because the carburetor's been sitting so long, I felt it'd be best to take it all apart and just clean everything. And what I did is I've got a glass, and I'm just using some carb cleaner. So what you want to do is go up into the kitchen and grab one of your wife's glasses. Don't tell her you're doing it, because she's going to say no. So you're going to have to sneak it out of there, but it works good for that.
A little rag that I put down underneath the rear master cylinder, and this thing is like tiny, tiny, tiny. So it'll won't take much to fill it and bleed it. So hopefully I don't slop the fluid everywhere. What I've done is I just poured poked a couple tiny pinholes in this, so hopefully it comes out all right without making a huge mess everywhere. Oh yeah, that's working really nice. Now I'm just going to crack the bleeder screw. So now all I've got is just a, it's called a Mighty Vac, and I just connect that onto this little fitting right here. And what I like to do is I like to just take and use a cable tie on it just so it doesn't come off, because it's a pain when it falls off. It makes a mess. There, and that's it. So now I just open up the bleeder screw and start sucking it out. See all the air coming out? And all you got to make sure is that the reservoir doesn't, you don't run it dry. Hear the air, guys? Listen to it. Hear it? And look at it. It's all like milky, cloudy. We want to do this until the fluid comes out clear, and it's nowhere near. Look how filthy this fluid is. This is pretty nasty. Look. That's supposed to be clear. Oh yeah, and we got a nice firm pedal right now too. Look. I think we're good, guys. Nice firm brake. We'll just do a couple more, make sure it's running clear, and then we'll cap it up, be done with it. And that's that, guys. Tighten up the bleeder screw, and then get our clamp off there. Wipe up our mess a little bit if we made one. And that's it. Now we just gotta do the front. Alright guys, I got the brakes all bled. Everything's real good now. I'll tell you what though, I had a lot of problems with this front. I could not get it to bleed. I got a real nice solid brake now. What I had to do is I had to take the caliper off and take the caliper and suspend it higher than the master cylinder. So like way up here. Then I bled it way up here. And it still, even after all that, it took a lot. I think just because the master cylinder ended up, I ran it dry, that it just caused a lot of problems. So, but yeah, we got a nice firm brake now, so we're good. So we got brakes on this. So next thing I want to do is I want to start getting all the vent tubing all rigged up onto the carburetor. What I got here, guys, are the original hoses, or I don't know if it's original to the bike, but these are the hoses that were on it. And I'm going to just kind of, I've got some replacement tubing, and I'm just going to make it up with this replacement tubing. So here's like one, and I'll make another one just like it, same length, and we'll put it on the carburetor and start putting everything together. There's that, and you can see how they kind of ran it through some tubing. I'm going to do the exact same thing, and they actually took their ends of the tubing and they got them cut at a little bit of a slash, so I'm going to do the same thing. This yellow really wasn't my first choice, but it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? It took a little bit of fumbling around to get it in there just because everything is so tight. What I should have done is probably just put those hoses on after the fact, but there it is. You can see kind of got them all rooted and tied up, so they look real nice, and that's basically how the factory had run them anyway. So yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I kind of wanted the pink, like the old vintage Kean colors, like remember the pink ones, if you guys ever seen them. But this stuff right here, not that I'd ever put ethanol in it, but these are supposed to be good for ethanol fuel and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, these are good lines. So yeah, and then you can see how they kind of all come down here. Then they're just kind of slashed on the end so they can run out. So I've washed the filter. I've got that hanging up here to dry, and then we'll have to put some filter oil on it a little bit later. But for now, let's get the chain guides and slides on and get that done. That way we can get the chain on it. Oh yeah, look at that, huh? Doesn't that look nice? This is the factory edition. Then this goes here. Doesn't get much easier than that, does it, guys? And then this goes through the kickstand. They give you all new hardware, which is nice. I got this bottom slider all on. Now I'm gonna put the top one on. It says all we gotta do with this one is just put a little bit of blue Loctite on it. Same thing we did on the slider for the back. Now for the money shot right here. This is, I've been looking forward to putting this chain on. Completely sure if I got to take a link out of this chain or not. It kind of seems like I do, but it says it was a direct fit for this bike, and these are stock sprockets gearing that I got right now. So yeah, I don't know what happened, guys, but I ended up taking some links out. I've got just a PBR tool from Motion Pro, and yeah, I don't know. Guess it was just too long. Whatever. It'll be right now. There we go. Now I'm just pressing on the link, and then we can put our clip on. Oh yeah, this is gonna look nice. Now the one that came with this, the slide that came with this that hooks onto this piece, actually is in great shape, the one that was on it, so I'm just going to reuse it. No sense of putting a new one on it if it doesn't need to be there, right? So what I'm trying to do is get this up in there. It's almost lined up. There it is. So I just put a little washer on there. Now I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on it. It'll probably be a lot bit because I can't see it. And put the nut on it. There. Now snug her up. Good and tight. And now, just like everything else, we have to identify it with some white paint to let us know we were there. So check this out, guys. While I was putting the handguards on, I've since taken them off. I was cleaning them up and I saw that one of them was kind of bent, so I put it in my vise and I tried to straighten it out. And you can see what I ended up doing is I ended up busting off the handguard. And I felt kind of bad about it because I'm sure that these weren't cheap. So that's what it should have looked like. That's what mine looks like. So I took the handguard off. I was kind of disappointed that I made that error. But I wasn't overly satisfied with them anyways, because you can kind of see how they got some scratches in it and stuff like that. It just kind of looks a little rough, but I was satisfied with them because I had cleaned them up and they looked a lot better than they did, but they just weren't quite perfect. So, but having broken them, I really had no other choice but to get new ones. And I saw that they said Enduro Engineering on the inside of them. So I called up the company, Enduro Engineering, and fortunately for me, I dealt with a salesperson that knew exactly what I was talking about. They asked me about my bar mounts. I told them it had a GPR stabilizer on it. And based on everything I told him for what I had for bars and the stabilizer and the top clamps, he knew exactly what I had. Said, yep, this is what you need, like $23, and I'll send them to you. So I said, yeah, well, I appreciate you helping me out. It's nice that you guys have, set me up and you're knowledgeable. I said, I got a YouTube channel, and he says, well, I'll check it out. So he was nice enough. He threw in free shipping for me and then threw in these little goodies. So I want to thank Enduro Engineering, because it's nice dealing with people who know what they're talking about, and yeah, set me up. So these are the exact things I need. So let's get these on the bike, and we'll go with it. Oh, and they threw in a bunch of stickers too, so I'm loving stickers. So we'll put this on our little sticker window right now real quick. Oh yeah, these things look awesome. I like that too. Look at that. That's like laser engraved in there. Got my little white dot letting me know that everything's tight. Everything lined up perfect to the risers and whatnot. I had to do a little bit of modifying though. The only thing is that these bar pieces aren't designed to be used with these Zeta handguards, so I had to drill them. But not a big deal. You can see I had to drill it there, and I had to drill it there. So I got this one done. I'll show you what I had to do. This is the other one. This would be the left side. They blind drill them and tap them so they don't go all the way through, but not a big deal. So I'll show you what I had to do to make it work. It was pretty straightforward, guys. To make this work, all I did is I just put the handguard on top of the bar, and you can see how basically you just kind of like adjusting it. Obviously you don't want it out here because there's a big gap, so you just kind of like slide it into place. It's the same contour as this bend, and there we go. So it needs to be right there. So all I did is just marked it with a Sharpie right there, and then just take it over to the drill and drill it. And then I just took my drill press, and if you guys haven't seen this build, go ahead and check it out. I got this off Marketplace. I got it really cheap. It included the base, the drill that came on it. I modified it, cut the whole top of the drill press off, and then welded a plate to it, and then mounted a mag drill to it. So now I just did a center punch on the piece right there, and now I'll just drill it. I've got the proper size drill bit, and I'll drill it and tap it. And I've got this little block underneath it, guys, so that I can drill it without this side hitting the table. Now I've just got a tapered counterbore bit, and I'm just going to taper the opening and exits of this just so that it's nice and smooth and finished looking. See what that does? That puts a little chamfer all the way around it. Just makes it look really nice. Now I'm just going to tap it with a M6 tap. That's it. Pretty straightforward. So what I'll do is I'll tap this one. Yeah, I'm just doing it by hand, nothing fancy. I will tap this one, and I will loosely put the bolt through the handguard so I can locate the other one. So it makes it perfect. That way I'm not worrying about the handguard sliding around. It'll actually be right where it needs to bolt up, and I will just identify the other hole where that needs to be. Just going forward a little bit, turning it ahead a little bit, and then backing it off. It's aluminum, so it's soft. I'm not using anything to tap with or anything like that. I probably could, but. Now I'll just take this handguard and put the screw in it that we just tapped and drilled. So set that in there, just finger tight. Now we can just kind of like center that up on this in the back. You can kind of see where it needs to go and make another little mark. Piece of cake. Like I say, these I don't think were designed for these Zeta grips or these specific ones. I just like the looks of these. And they got blinkers, as you can see, integrated into them. Then we'll drill this one just like the other. Alright, a little bit of Loctite on the bolts. Doesn't that look nice, guys? Love how that looks. That's gonna look really good when it's all together. Now that the carburetor's on, I really don't like leaving the airbox open for any length of time. So I've got a little bit of grease I put on the back side here to help seal it against the surface. So now we just got to put it in. These filters seal pretty good. Alright guys, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the entire bike. I'm going to put a torque wrench on every single fastener and making sure that this entire bike is torqued to the factory specs. That way we know it's right and we don't have to worry about it crushing something, stripping something, or having something fall out. So I'm going to put it on fast forward. You guys check it out. Follow me on my social media, you'll know that I just dropped this off the lift, which isn't good. Check that out. So yeah, busted the hand guard, busted that up a little bit, but yeah, whatever, it's gonna get hurt anyway. So but I had it on that stand right there, and I had to take the straps off it because I was doing something up in the front end and I needed to compress the front, and when I did, apparently I didn't get the bike back onto that stand well enough, and it just tipped over and on the floor it went.
So make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys, because I posted this on my YouTube stories and you'll know before anyone else.
For the heck of it, let's put the rear fender on it. See how that's going to look. Oh, it's going to look pretty sick.
So I think, guys, roughly a brand new bike is going to run you around 12 grand, I think, and or somewhere there in the ballpark, plus or minus. And what I'll do is I will go through at the end of this build. I think probably next week we'll be done with this. And I will go through and we will add up how much I have into it. The initial purchase price was $2,500 and this bike started first kick. And if you haven't seen the series, go check it out. I just wanted the motor freshened up because it's important to me that I have a bike that's not only safe, but it's reliable. And you can do that on a budget. And that's what we've done here. For motor oil, I'm sure you guys are going to ask. The engine builder who did this, which is Team EJP Racing, they recommended 80 weight transmission oil. It's called Gear Saver, and it's by Maxima, and it has to be for suitable for wet clutches. But yeah, we will add up the price. I have a fraction of what it would be for a new bike. Fortunately for me, this bike had a lot of nice doodads on it, like the GPR steering stabilizer. That's almost $500 right there. So the suspension was just done. So, you know, I had a lot of nice things already, but it would have been nice. I wanted to do the black wheels, but again, that's a cosmetic thing, and that's going to add $500. So, but I will say I have a very nice bike. It's going to be just as reliable as a brand new one at a fraction of the cost. And that's all there is to it, guys. I think next week we might just have this thing finished, and I cannot wait. I've really enjoyed this build, but I'm also ready for it to be done and move on to some welding content. I got a lot of stuff to do. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you guys aren't a subscriber, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon because I'm always uploading to YouTube stories. And if you are, you'll know that I started the bike last week in one of my stories. So how many kicks did it take for the bike to start? Fresh motor. Put your comment down below. How many kicks for the bike to start on a fresh motor? And you saw everything that was torn apart, the carb completely torn apart, everything. So until next week, guys, I will see you then. Take care, stay safe, like, comment, subscribe. Bye.